All right, check this out. So we have this, right? We only need to know three things. Any loop, whether it's a while loop, a for loop, doesn't matter. We only need to know three things in order to be able to predict what's going to happen. Okay? You need to know where it starts, where it ends, and how much is it going up or down in increments. Okay? So we look at a while loop. It's a little bit more difficult than a for loop because I can scroll down. I think there's a for loop here. In a for loop, all your inventory is handled here, right? We have our starting point, our ending point, and our increment all in one little area, right? While loops are a little bit more ambiguous. Where's my starting point in the while loop? First thing you look for is you look for the iterator, right? You look for something that's going up or down based on the while loop. I see this I plus equals 1. I go, that's probably my iterator, right? I usually will name it I just to make it easier, but just in case, look for something that's going up and down during the course of the loop. What's my starting point? 0. What's my escape condition or my ending point? My ending point is the opposite of whatever's in the parentheses in the while loop, right? So if my string S at position I, when I reaches a position in my string that's equal to a J, I'm all done, right? So the principle of this, it keeps adding 1 to I every time I don't find a J until I run into a J. Okay? And hopefully at the end, I set P equal to I, and then P is equal to the position in my string where I find the J. What's the problem with this one?
Just won't do it.
Let's just check this first and see if it works. You're not going to be able to do this on the quiz, but just so you guys know that I'm only going to give you stuff that works. That works without a problem. So if I say print P, it's going to print 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There's the J, right? Position 4 is my J. There's more J's, but we're done when we find the J. This only runs as long as position I is not J. As soon as you run into a situation where position I is J, we're done. So I ends up being the last position where I found the J or the first position where there is a J. What do you guys see as potential problems with that algorithm? If there's no J, what stops it? Nothing, right? So if I do this,
Haha, funny meme. You got an error.
index out of range, right?
Wait, what did you do at least?
You forgot J.
I got rid of all the J's. So there's no more J's. It's looking for J's. All of a sudden, we're checking S at I. At a certain point, if I keep adding 1 to I, and I get to, let's say this is bazooka, right? Bazooka has 7 characters. What happens when I equals 7? Well, no, something happens. I'm trying to call an index in the string S that doesn't exist. It's out of range of what's in the, it's somewhere outside of the range 0 to 6, right? So it's going to give me an index out of range error. That is what I wanted to talk to you guys about, is that we have been seeing from I to I plus 1, right?
We don't see eye to eye.
Yeah, that's right. So look, check it out. If I put a range in here, right, it's just going to keep going forever. And the reason why it's going to do that is because this is never out of range anymore. Because it's just saying, hey, Python, look in that range and see what you can find. And it's saying, I don't have anything in that range. So same exact thing we were just doing, but with a for loop, right? This one's easier because all of my inventory is inside this one line here, and in fact inside these parentheses. What's my starting point? Len minus 1, right? Why do I have the minus 1?
Because that's what makes the code.
This has, somebody count the number of letters in this for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Let's just
6,
say 8.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
So it has 13 letters. I'm going to get index from 0 to 12. So I put a minus 1 here because the length is 13, but my top index is 12. So I'm starting from the top index. I'm going down to 0. Why do I put a negative 1 here?
So that counts 13 times.
Top of the range is exclusive. So if I'm going backwards, I need to go to negative 1 in order to include 0 in the range. Why do I have negative 1 here?
Because that's what you're iterating.
So I'm going backwards by 1. Okay, so if I run this, what am I going to get? Michael Jordan backwards. Don't forget, each time I'm adding a star in between
So Michael Jordan backwards plus a star.
with stars in between each letters.
So that's a
Michael Jordan.
Questions on that one? Guys, if you have questions right now, instead of silly jokes, it's a really good time to ask. Roham. Okay. What's my starting points? In the for, starting at 1, right? For loop. All the inventory is handled here. Right? What's my end point? How am I going up or down? Up by 1. It's automatic when you do a standard for loop. Okay? Every time I run this, I'm going to the number num. So that could be whatever I put in. So let's say I put in 10. All right? And my divisor is 2. Right? So I go through all the numbers in 10 by 1. Yes?
Yes.
I'm going to take that number and I'm going to divide it by my divisor, which is 2. What's true about that? Does it print to 0 for all the numbers that are evenly divisible?
it's A and B. Well, it still prints the remainder.
It also prints the remainder if it's not, right? Because I'm adding it to the output no matter what.
It's D.
Correct. It's both A and B, right? It can do both. You guys are going to get a choose all that apply question on the exam.
D.
Cool? All right.